Hey, I'm Kevin Johnson with Davis Brothers Designs out of Owensville, Indiana. The truck you see behind us is a 1987 359 owned by Bryan Martin from Four State Trucks. It's not a Four State truck, it's literally Bryan's truck that he bought when he was 24 years old. The intention was for Bryan just to finally get his truck built. And then over this last summer, Bryan was like, hey, what would you guys think about building my truck and using it for the build-off? We're like, okay, we've never fully built frame-off 359 ever. You know, we take a challenge on, we take it very seriously. And we were all like, oh, what, Bryan's truck and build for the build-off? Yeah, we'll do that. So, first of all, one of our main things that we're known for at Davis Brothers is the paint work. Our paint and body shop, in my opinion, is just second to none. And I can say that with all honesty because I don't do any work in that. I just see what's done, I see the process, I see how they do it, and as you can tell by the paint on this truck, there was a lot of thought went into all the colors. Bryan had the ideas of what he wanted to do as far as the primary colors, and he knew he wanted some kind of stripe. There's two different colors of blue that are on the frame and the chassis, but all the stripe colors were designed to kind of hide the louvers on the hood. A lot of people don't like louvered hoods, some do, and Bryan loves his louvered hood. All of the stripes and everything even continue all the way through the body on the teardrops around the breathers. The inside of the air cleaner bracket is even striped, so it's even detailed inside that bracket. And the frame, as you could tell, has been totally smoothed down clean. Obviously, he had a freshly rebuilt about 12 years ago 3406B cat motor, and we got that all painted up. Tried to just do highlights in the engine bay, like polishing the valve covers, because back when this truck would have been period correct and guys were customizing them, they wouldn't be chrome plating a lot of things like we have the availability to today, a lot easily anyway. But like the spike mounts down here for the cab, those are all polished. The spikes on the hood are all polished out. Upper hood mount up here where the hood rests against, polished that piece out. Even all the hose clamps in the engine bay are all polished, and it's kind of dangerous. You can tear an arm off doing that, I about did. But then the guys in the body shop, again, painted all the engine up a really good cat yellow. And the guys at Four State Trucks made this really beautiful stainless shroud. And even on the harmonic balancer, we wrapped that with a thin piece of stainless steel, which was relatively simple, but it just give a little extra shine in the engine bay. So on this side of the engine bay, same typical deal. Obviously this was a stock turbo for it, but we Cerakoted the hot side and also the compressor. And there again, to kind of follow what we did with a lot of the aluminum pieces, instead of chrome plating, we would polish that. So we've got this polished up, got some chrome work on the exhaust where it disappears underneath the truck. So now moving on to like the rest of the truck and the interior, there's things like we got some period correct Vortox air cleaners that would be on the truck when it was new. And we even put the factory mirrors back on the truck. We just polished them really well. And like the old school guys would take the right-hand mirror and put on the left side and so forth, they'd swap them because there's a little down sweep on the mirror, and they loved that, keeping the bottom of that mirror flat and having that sweeping down. It'd give them kind of like a lower, more sleek look. So we did that, got some old school looking President antennas that go right in the factory holes, and call these lollipop lights, and it's even got the blue dot on it with the red lens, and we followed that theme on all the rear facing lights on the truck. I guess moving on to the interior, this whole interior was stitched up by Tubies in Oregon, and they did just an absolutely outstanding job on this truck. But we found good period correct carpet in the truck. It's a real nice tight loop carpet like it would have had from the factory. Darren Bean did all the pinstriping on the truck just to bring that old school feel to it. And then it's basically a stock interior, but everything's just done up a little nicer than stock like they would have done back in the day. We polished all the throttle pedal base, the brake pedal base, and the hinge and the mount for the steering column. and the original steering wheel's still in it. We just cleaned it up really well, and it's got a billet aluminum piece in there that our machinist made for us. It says Martin Livestock, and you can even see on the step boxes it says Martin Livestock. And even on this door right here, we made sure that it had the Bossman, because back in my truck days, that's what they referred to him, was the Bossman. So this time he was the Bossman, but he was the customer. We got some of his Vendetta seats in here. It's just things that he, wants that he had. Even his Cobra CB with the Wilson external speaker that's mounted off the bottom of the case, just like it would have been back then. So on the back side of the visor, we had one of his favorite songs, Somewhere Down in Texas, lettered by Darren Bean again on the back side of the visor. And then even on the heater box over here, we had the Wichita Lineman. That's one of his favorite old classic songs. Another thing we did on the whole truck is we put bus glass on all of it, which, a lot of the guys, they got to liking having the bus glass on the bottom. So it's a blue tinted strip along the bottom of all the windows. It's even in the passing window on the other side of the truck and the rear glass as well. And then he's got some of his 6-inch pipes on here that they sell there at 4 State. And you can tell that everything's just nice and neat. Even the hangers are all new and look just the way they should from the factory. But even inside the bunk, we made sure and got all this refurbished. And Davis Brothers is known too also for their stereos, but this one's got a pretty mild stereo system in it. It's just got 6 speakers and 1400 watts, but we kind of highlighted the amplifiers in here, and all of this has the tight loop carpet. Even under the bunk has a matching carpet to the doors. A little bit of vinyl work, and then it's the factory light that we've got an acrylic and billet aluminum that's polished that says Peterbilt on it, just to dress those factory lights up. So just a little upgrade. But moving on back, we just followed the theme of the blue dot lights, the truck lights that were always on the back of the bunks of these. Even underneath the sleeper, we flat paneled the bottom of the sleeper just to make it more slick and smooth, easier to clean, but it also just looks a whole lot better. And it's painted with the same beautiful quality paint that's on the outside of the truck. One thing that Bryan was really wanting that Cody in the fab shop there at 4 States and myself was kind of fighting him on was an on-frame deck plate. I've never been a big fan of them, but Bryan's demand kind of worked out great, because I think Cody and I both said, okay, he was right, it looks great on this truck. So it actually has a nice shape here on top that looks great with the top of the frame, but also to go with the aluminum tread plate step boxes, we've got that all the way running down through the middle of this upper on-frame deck plate and the airline box. So we just tried to kind of follow that theme through the truck back to the fifth wheel. And Brooks in our body shop decided that he thought some stainless pieces in front and rear of the fifth wheel would really have a nice accent, and it would reflect and show that the bottom of this fifth wheel is painted with the same blue that's on the frame. So it's just another added detail. And then we wanted full fenders because we didn't want him throwing rocks at the back of the cab, but he said, in my mind, I have it pictured to want half fenders on it. So these are some Vendetta 4 State half fenders. I believe they're Vendettas. Don't quote me on that, but. And on back, we have an in-frame deck plate, so we kind of won a little bit of the battle there. But we've got an in-frame section back here, but on the deck plate then, Darren come in and did pinstriping on the truck, and it just painted the working man blues on the back of the bunk there. That's the name of the truck. Back here on the rear stainless drop panel that 4 State made, we even used the truck lights with the blue dot lens. One thing that he really wanted, and I had to figure out how to make it look great, were these aviation landing lights. So those are literally landing lights off of an airplane, and a lot of guys used those back then. That was just kind of a fad, and they really liked using those. So another thing that I didn't realize was really popular back then were these Swingmaster mud flap hangers. He said, oh my gosh, if you guys have a pair of those, I would love to have them. And we used actual cow mat, which is a real thick, heavy rubber with some Iowa Customs mud flap weights on the bottom, and it just has that long mud flap look of these old trucks. But we just wanted to make sure and have a lot of polished stuff on here, because a lot of guys, if they didn't have the money to wrap stuff in stainless or whatever, they would polish it. So polished out all the ends of the fuel tanks and the air tanks, and also polished up these old fuel caps too. One huge compliment that Bryan had for us is he come up and he said when he first saw the truck, and he had never seen this truck complete. And I think I even mentioned he's never driven it since he bought it when he was 24. And he come up and he said, this is what I would imagine a brand new 359 would look like on the showroom floor, except better.